It looks like my prediction of Newcastle United finishing third in the Premier League is going to come true. Listen, Newcastle United this season have been so good, it's unreal. They may even finish second. Right now, Alexander Isak, Murphy, Tonali on current form, other than Declan Rice, may be the best central midfielder in the Premier League. The guy guarantees you an 8 out of 10 every single week. Kieran Trippier today, 2 assists. Dan Burn with a goal. Alexander Isak with the penalty. And they comfortably dispatched of Ipswich Town. And they are up to third. Yet again, another clean sheet for Newcastle United. They are on very, very good form. Clean sheets in their last 5 games against Palace, Leicester, and Ipswich. And they're scoring goals at a ridiculous rate. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button. 90% of you who watch the content every single month are not subscribed. And we are steamrolling our way towards 60,000. We're about 447 to be precise off of 52K. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be the first person to say I didn't get to see all of the game. My stream was cutting out. I probably saw about 25 minutes. The first half, the connection on the stream was absolutely disastrous. But what I did get to see, Newcastle were very good. Once again, another 3 points, 25 shots, another 3 goals. This Newcastle United side, before we get into the game, I want to look at the Premier League table. Chelsea won, City won midweek, Forest won against Spurs. If Forest go and beat, I think they've got Bournemouth or Brentford this weekend, they are up to third. But mark my words, Newcastle United are going to finish minimum 4th this season. I do think they will finish third. Look at their goals scored. Only City and Liverpool have scored more Premier League goals than them. They've got one of the best defenses in the Premier League. A very good goal difference. They've won 19 Premier League games, which is more than Arsenal. And then right now they are in a very, very good, very, very good, time in the Newcastle era. They've just won their first trophy in a long, long time. And they've gone out there today and they've comfortably dispatched of Ipswich. And you look at that team, Harvey Barnes keeping his place, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes in midfield. Willock comes in for Joelinton. It's a very, very good team. Murphy, for me, I think it's been one of their standout players this season. I mean, his stats overall in a Newcastle United shirt this season, 8 goals and 11 assists, 19 GA in the Premier League, alongside another 3 GA in the League Cup. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's 22 GA in 35 games for Jacob Murphy. Alexander Isak, yet again, with another goal. I think that's 23 Premier League, 23 Premier League goals this season for Alexander Isak with 6 assists. Harvey Barnes, of course, keeping Gordon out of the team. Bruno Tonali and Willock. I'm going to say it right now. On current form, I think Tonali probably, other than Declan Rice, you probably could argue because of his Champions League form, is the best central midfielder in the league. He's absolutely stupidly good. He's averaging practically an 8 out of 10 every single week throughout the Premier League. And it doesn't matter if they bring in Willock or they play Joelinton. Bruno Guimaraes alongside him, absolutely majestic. That back line of Dan Burn and Cher, I actually think that's the best Newcastle partnership. I do like Botman as well. And, of course, Livramento and Trippier. No Lewis Hall today. Of course, his injury. And Gordon, Barnes is keeping him out of the team because of recent form. So, in terms of that bench as well, it's a bench that can come on and make an impact. William Osula come on and got the goal. They've got talent there in Gordon, Lewis Miley, Wilson and Botman. But, that they were far, far superior. Ben Johnson, the ex-West Ham player, was sent off for a second yellow. Stupid from him, a second yellow in about 8 or 9 minutes. Don't really get what he's doing. The Ipswich players given a second yellow card after pulling back Isak from the left-hand side. And, as he's running towards goal, he's got his hands all over him. It's the second yellow, he's off. And then after about another 5 minutes, they were awarded a penalty. And it upsets Alexander Isak, who right now is I'd say the best striker in the Premier League. I'd have him above Erling Haaland right now. You know, in terms of other number nines, there's not many out there. You can maybe argue Kylian Mbappe and Lewandowski, but his consistency in a Newcastle United shirt is unbelievable. He gives them the 1-goal lead right on the stroke of half time, and they go in, you know, I think they've got something like Opta said a 96% chance of Eddie Howe's side taking the lead at 1-0. They were by far the better side. They had a couple of good chances early on in the second half. And I always say the first 15 minutes, the team talk's ringing in the players' ears. You're going out there, you're going against 10 men who you know are going to probably play the deepest of low blocks. It's a big, big game. Every game now for the remainder of the season is a big game for Newcastle United. Whether that's pumping Crystal Palace 5-0, don't get me wrong, they did lose heavily against Aston Villa, but you got Brighton on Sunday and then a massive game against Chelsea. If they win those next 2 games, pretty much book your flights, Newcastle United fans, because you will be in the Champions League next season. They get their second goal. Kieran Trippier plays a delightful cross from the right-hand side of the pitch, which is met by 6'7" Dan Burn. The Palmer, the Ipswich goalkeeper, was underneath that and had absolutely no chance, and it was 2-0. Kieran Trippier played really well as well, to be brutally honest with you. They made a number of changes. Lewis Miley come on for Willock. Gordon come on for Murphy around the hours mark. Osula come on for Isak later. Wilson for Barnes. And then Kieran Trippier, it's a great moment for Osula. Trippier whips in a corner from the right-hand side, and the cross is met by the substitute, who climbs high and guides the ball past Palmer to make it 3-0. And it was 3 well-deserved points for Newcastle United. If I did miss anything, please let me know. But as it stands right now, knowing the fact that City and Chelsea have both won, the most important thing for Newcastle United today was getting the 3 points. Forest, of course, have got FA Cup this weekend, so their game in hand will probably be a midweek one. Aston Villa as well, they've gone 5 points clear of them, 1 point clear of City, 2 points clear of Chelsea, 2 points clear of Forest, and they're only 5 points off of Arsenal now. And you look at their recent form, 4 wins in their last 5, and other than a slip up against Aston Villa, in which was let's just call it what it was. It was a freak result. That probably wouldn't happen for a long, long time. You look at the amount of goals Newcastle United are scoring: 5 against Palace, 4 against United, 3 against Leicester, 3 against Ipswich, 2 against Brentford, 1 against West Ham. That is another really, really important factor. They're not just, when they win games, they win by a good margin, which is obviously helping out their goal difference. Only City, Arsenal and Liverpool at the moment have better goal differences than them. And it's only a couple of goals in it between them and City in terms of the goal difference, which of course will play a big factor coming up to game 37 and game 38. Man City overall have won a league title on goal difference. But the way they're playing right now, I want to look at their upcoming games. That game against Chelsea at St. James's Park is absolutely huge. They've got 4 more Premier League games. They do play Arsenal in pre-season, which of course will be a very good test for them. They play Arsenal on the 18th of May, and the likelihood is Arsenal will either be potentially through to a final or out of the Champions League. And then the last game of the season's a very, very good one for them at home against Everton. But Brighton, of course, just won today. Won today, being 2-1 down in the 87th minute. But that Chelsea game next week as well. Chelsea, of course, won. Chelsea, of course, won 1-0 today against Everton, which was a well-deserved 3 points for them. They played well. But I just think on current form, I back Newcastle United to beat Chelsea. And knowing the fact as well, Chelsea will have Conference League semi-final. That'll probably be on the mind of Enzo Maresca, and they're not scoring a lot of goals. I think at current form right now, it will probably be Manchester City and Newcastle in the Champions League. Chelsea have still got to play, Liverpool, still got to play Arsenal, still got to play Newcastle, still got to play Forest. Their games are really, really difficult. Man City are probably, I would say, 90% chance getting top 4. That they are in decent form. They've got Wolves, Southampton, and Bournemouth in their next in the next 3. And actually, Wolves are on good form. They've just won something like 6 games in a row, beating West Ham, Southampton, Ipswich, Spurs, Man United, and Leicester today. And they're actually keeping quite a few clean sheets. So that's going to be interesting. And let me know down below. Who do you think is going to get top 4? Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And I am out.